Welcome back to Restaurant to Another World Anime Review, episode number 4. This is discussing 3 episodes because I got 3 episodes done when I was away from the house today. Yeah, just 3. Not 2 this time, just 3. Yes. Episodes 7 through 9. First up, it is, well, kind of in the way the first story for the 7th episode does kind of lead into what, because basically the guy is still eating. The character pops in this one. Yeah, he pops up and we see a new character who becomes pretty much a regular throughout probably for the rest of this thing. Yes. This first one's called Curry. Yes. He explains that this admiral, who is a very famous admiral, who apparently got shipwrecked after saving a bunch of merchant ships, and he was on his island for 20 years. Excuse me, I'm 20 years. 20 years on an island. That's a long time to be on an island by yourself. But the thing is, he actually stayed healthy, surprisingly. And you're thinking, how the heck did he stay healthy for 20 years on an island where he barely had enough food to some animals on the island? But how the heck did he survive for 20 years on an island? Well, thanks to the Restaurant to Another World. Yep. Which, by the way, this island does pop up again in the following episode. Yes. I kid you not. It's the very next episode. I think it's the same island. So, apparently for 20 years, he's been going to his restaurant. Well, going to the Restaurant of Our World, where he meets the master. I believe when he first went there, he met the current master's grandfather. And he gave a big bag of gold. And he's been basically coming here like every week in order to basically eat food here. What food is eat? Curry. And yes, I've kind of had curry before. Mostly just rice with a little bit of vegetables. Meat. It's actually quite delicious. And he's here for quite a while. And then basically after one visit, it might be a while before I come back here. So after he basically go on Dungeon King, he's hoping to find a particular door. And it's the very same door from the episode that introduced the fried shrimp. Yes, it's a door used by Heinrich. Yeah, the same door he uses. Which is interesting to say the least. He goes in, he's and of course, the master immediately recognized, wow, I haven't seen you in a while. That's because he went over, it took a while to get to dry land. And you see he orders curry. And then that leads into the very, he's still there by the end of the segment. That leads into the very next segment, which, by the way, if you're curious, though, what this episode covers, episode 7, I couldn't exactly find anywhere in the books, basically, was a chapter this one covered. Mostly, it's chapter 16 of book number 1. Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird. I looked all over chapter 1 for any chapter title of where this could be. And I couldn't find any. No, seriously. Because looks like it has a list of all the chapters and all the books that have been released. Maybe it's from one of the manga chapters, possibly, but I don't know. It's possible that might be the case. Yeah. I mean, let's look at light novels. Let's look at, let's say, volume 1. I honestly didn't see, one that covered well, yeah, and I'm looking at the chapters of these books. There's nothing here that says chicken curry. Yeah, and that introduces a brand new character series, Kiro, who is voiced by Monica Rail. Yep. Yeah, and apparently this Kiro in dragon form is where they explain for her is that she fought with other dragons thinking this particular monster, but apparently her death magic was harmful to people, like especially some elves. So she decided to fly to the edge of the sky. She flew. You probably think, oh, where did she go? She went to the moon. Yeah, she went to the moon. Apparently, the moon in this world is partially damaged. I'm like, what the heck? And how can a dragon breathe in space? There's no air on the moon. And she would be there no problem. And then all of a sudden, poof, a door pops up on the moon. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, it's the door of the restaurant. And of course, she transforms into a human form. She walks in. And of course, everyone's like, oh, hello. Like, oh crap, please cover her up. Because she's completely naked. And they think she's an elf because of the ears. Of course, they don't know until the Red Queen shows up and goes, oh yeah, this is a friend of hers named Kiro. She's a dragon. She hasn't seen her in years. And this is when it used the chicken curry. Yes, because the guy who is eating curry is still eating curry. Yep. Yep. Yeah, so eating has some chicken curry. Like, try some more, and apparently she ate so much that the plates basically are. It's kind of like a gag. Like, the plates are about this freaking high because all the chicken curry she ate. And then of course Red Queen comes and is like, "You do realize you're gonna have to pay for this?" He's like, "Money." Well, and of course, oh, she's from the back world. Basically, she's from the freaking moon. And of course, the Red Queen also mentions that this particular restaurant falls under her domain, so please be respectful toward it. It falls everywhere. So how this one restaurant falls under her domain just because the door pops up in her golden den, and she carries from this big, huge pot that she eats her beef stew out of air dragon form. Yeah. So apparently, Kiro, just like Red Queen, is a beautiful woman in her human form. I'm like, wow. I like the Red Queen who has to put on an actual dress. Kiro just puts on you some magic to put herself in an outfit. It's similar. It looks very similar to Anita's outfit, which is interesting. So, basically, in order to compensate for the chicken curry, Red Queen's like, hey, master, can you hire her, please? All you had to pay her was chicken curry. He's like, okay. And Anita apparently is like worried that because he hired another person that she might lose her job. He's like, oh no, you're not losing your job. This is perfectly natural to hire more help. And she apparently speaks telepathy. And then they bring in more people over the course of these 2 episodes. But yes, it's interesting. Kiro is so hilarious. Yeah, she doesn't do very much after her debut episode. Episode 8, first segment, hamburger steak. Now, I believe, this is my theory, this is the same island that the Curry Man basically went to. He was stranded for 20 years. So, basically, this fisherman is saved by this beautiful mermaid, and as payment, like, as reward, hey, can you give me 10 silver coins? It's like, okay, here you go. And I'll take you someplace. Where is she taking him to? The restaurant on the island. And he's wondering, how the heck is she going to work a restaurant? She's basically a mermaid. Oh, she just transforms her fin into dragon legs and puts on this, like, one of these, like, two-piece cloth top where it just covers her breast. And he's like, wow, she's beautiful. I agree, she's hot. So, they go in and they order the hamburger steak, which is simply like fries, the steak, and get this, a sunny side up egg. And apparently they eat it with this thing. I'm like, what? Yeah, it is quite hilarious. But yeah, this is a pretty good scene. I like this. And they don't explore this customer's backstory very much. I mean, a lot of their customers, they do explore like a little backstory of what they're doing prior to coming to the restaurant. It's kind of very much, yeah, it's like a random fisherman that this mermaid just happened to find saving from a storm. And as payment, just take a restaurant, and he pays for it for her. And he's like, "Can we come back on next time on Thursday?" And she's like, "Sure." And it's possibly these two will become a couple. Yep. That was a really good segment. Next one, assorted cookies. This one's an interesting one because this does introduce a brand new character. Now, in the hamburger steak segment, let's see if I can find the right page here. Here we go. No, not that one. Let's see here. Let's see. The character who is the hamburger steak. Let's see if I can find him here. No, not croquet. Okay, that's actually the mermaid, Artie. She's voiced by Amber Lee Connors. So I'm like, that's interesting. Like, I just saw her like in another series. Which one was that? How Not the Summon Demon Lord. Yeah, this was quite something, the fact that she actually did this. Mm-hmm. Rookie, who the guy she brings with her, voiced by Howard Wong. Like, Wang. And then, of course, oh yeah, we get this one. Oh, I'm so happy to get a chance to see this one. Okay. So, the assorted cookies. This is an interesting one. So, Anita gets a job in her own world. What's the job? Being a housemaid for Sarah Gold. Because she's not adventurous, she needs to. Well, she's not adventurous, she needs someone to clean her house up because her house is a mess when she comes home. So, she's like, okay. Look if she knows her. It's not like she just. Like if she went to a place with a random stranger, and she cleans the place up for her. We also introduce the assorted cookies. These are cookies cooked in a bakery that's upstairs. Like, oh, I know this place upstairs. Yeah, a bakery. Now, in the case of, is this natural to have a fully functional restaurant with a bakery, like, upstairs? Not really, no. Usually it's next door, but never usually in the same building. Unless it's a mall. Yeah, unless it's a mall. But my guess is probably a Japanese thing. So I'm not blaming the anime for that. It's probably a Japanese thing for that. So he eats a couple cookies, and as, of course, congratulations for getting another job, because she needs a second job anyways, because this only does one day worth of work. So, works a housemaid. And she gets to stay in the house. No problem. And then we get introduced to Sarah's sister. Her sister, by the way, Sarah is voiced by Caitlin Glass. Yes. Her sister, Shia, who was actually introduced this very episode. Let's see. Shia. Let's see. I believe. Oh, yeah, she's voiced by Felicia Argyle, which I thought that was interesting. Yes. Felicia Argyle, which that's interesting because for her, this actually was a very recent series that I actually just saw her on. Yes. For her, this is the 23rd series. You're thinking, 23rd? What was the last series I heard her on? Absolute Duo. And that seems familiar. Wasn't that a series he started with this year? Yes. Yes, it was. And she basically is brought into this episode. She comes visit her sister, who apparently she's 5 years younger than she is, like, because she's like the younger sister by 5 years. Like, this is nothing unusual. I have a sister who's 4 years younger than I am. Yeah, and the thing is, I have two siblings. Each one of us, the three of us, are born 2 years apart. So my brother, I'm 2 years older than he is, and my sister, I'm 4 years older than she is. So this is perfectly natural. And apparently it's explained to her that apparently there's a sickness that she calls a sickness, William Gold sickness, the William sickness, where a certain amount of family would stop being part of the trading company and just break off and just do their own venturing and treasure hunting. I'm like, what's wrong with venturing? It sounds like really fun to do, despite the fact that you might actually get seriously hurt. So she just, of course, Anita be like so polite to her, gives some tea and cookies. The cookies that she ate one on her break, or 30-minute break. Don't see what Kira does on her break, surprisingly. Always Nita. Excuse me. So, she brings the cookies to her, and she tries, like, oh, I love these. Can you bring more? It's like, okay. 2 silver coins for 2 tens. Like, okay. Like, oh, this is so good holding her hand. And then Sarah comes like, why are you holding my housemate's hand? I thought this was so hilarious, but it was great to see an episode where Sarah's, like, another sibling, like, another relative actually shows up in an episode. Her butler is voiced by Kent Williams, who does a really good job for his very small role he does for the episode. Yep, but that was episode 8 for you. And normally I would end it right there, but no, there's actually one more I did. First story is fried seafood. And this one seems a bit random. Yeah, just 2 dwarves walking the mountains and walking for quite a while until they finally get to the restaurant. One of them basically threatened to kill the guy a couple times. So he gets there and he gets there like, oh, what is this place? Like, tells him put the axe away, and of course they're sitting down, and of course they're ordering fried seafood along with beer, whiskey, and a glass of ice. The ice, of course, is basically a big rock. I've seen stuff like this in movies. It's basically the whole thing with the ice being that size of like a rock like that. That's something normally you would find for people who are wealthy. And of course, one of the dwarves mentions that the alcohol he tries here, you actually don't find in that world. He's basically never seen his alcohol before. Which, given the standard that when it comes to dwarves I've seen a lot of the time in fiction, usually these guys are very heavy drinkers. And, like, these guys drink a lot of alcohol. And apparently that the door is basically inside the shack that one of them actually owns. So they tried the seafood, and one basically forgot. Oh yeah, there's actually this tartar sauce. Yes, the tartar sauce. So, like, second episode featured freaking tartar sauce. So they eat it, and they don't really show exactly how he found the door. Just these 2 guys just come to it because one of the guys recommended. After they finish, they just look like they pass out and then the restaurant disappears. They apparently don't exit the place. Yeah, apparently went up back in the shack, and then apparently they later expanded the shack. They built like a tourist attraction, and behind this door being the door to that other world. Which is interesting to say the least. Yes. It's a pretty okay story per se. Melon's Soda Float. This is interesting. The most focus on 2 siblings. One, of course, voiced by Rico. Yes, Rico. As in, let's see if I can find him here. Because it's basically 2 siblings. Rico Fajaro. Actually, I've spoken to this guy on Twitch. Nice guy to talk to on Twitch. Though he'll, like, whenever I try to ask him questions, he'll answer one and just basically just not go to the comments. He would look at the comments occasionally, but he won't go to it all the time. Because he likes to focus on the games. Chris Guerrero does basically. I've talked to other people on Twitch. Rico, I have asked him what was like working on Uzuki Show and Singer. He loved working on the show. He absolutely loved it. Now, if I get a chance to see him on Twitch, I will ask him about this series. Now, he's here with his sister, his half-sister, who is voiced by the awesome Elizabeth Maxwell. Yes. Love this actress. My favorite character of hers is Alabama from Overlord. I personally had never met Liz Maxwell. I've seen pictures of her. Like she is a very lovely woman, and like in the case of Stephanie Young, it seems like she has a knack for voicing smoking hot women. Yes, that's the thing with these two women. It's like the women that they voice are some of the most beautiful women in anime. Yeah, I'm looking at Liz Maxwell. She's not the better looking woman. She's only 38. And you're like, really? 38? Wow. Yeah, she's not much older than me, but hey. And I know she's an Overlord. Yeah, she voices Beto. Of course, she also voices Shanky from One Piece. Great character. She also is known for voicing, well, Scylla Gorgon from Soul or Not. A small handful of series, and this basically is another one that she just happened to be on. Which, I don't know if in fact she actually does come back again. So, basically, her brother, who's voiced by Rico, yeah, he has a thing for chocolate parfait, the princess. He's in love with her. So, in order to win her heart, even though that his sister knows for a fact that he's in love with her. Now, they do mention her that they're half siblings. Now, same father, different mothers. Her mother was a lower noble who won the respect and love of the king, and she was named also the court magician. I'm like, that's interesting. Yes, the wife of a king of a country, and one of the wives just happened to be the court magician. This is probably the second time I've seen this, because the only series I've seen this in, and this is kind of a spoiler for people who read another on my smartphone. Lean, as a book, I believe it was book 9, I think it was, when they introduced the library in this series. She became the court magician right after she basically, like, she says, oh yeah, I'll be the court magician and your fiance. Yes, that's what she said in the book. She actually proposed to him in the library because she actually had a thing for him. And the fiance is basically, the specific thing, the way that was written in the books, is that they normally would talk to each other about this first before they suggest it. But they had no problem because they trust Lean anyway, because they're close friends. Yep. So, as the court magician, she taught both, basically her daughter and her stepson, magic and become really powerful people. And her brother, well, in the case of Rico's character, he of course likes, to talk about the whole thing with iced coffee. They have a sesh within their country. And the way their country is, it's kind of like Aladdin. Yes. So, he has a crush on the princess, and he just is so hesitant to confess his feelings for her. So he decided to establish and make ties with her country. And his sister's got no problem with this at all. The fact that he would do this. The fact he would do it basically the diplomacy way to earn her heart. And then when she comes in, of course, after they basically order their drinks, but she orders a cream float, which this melon cream float looks like a soda ice cream on top. Which, if you're gonna ask, have I ever tried this? No, I have never tried this at all. This seems like a very foreign dish. I've never tried this before. So apparently he doesn't want to talk to the girl he likes when she just happened to show up at the place. Is so hilarious. And the sister talked to her, no problem. But he is like so hesitant because basically he's blushing the whole time, which I think is so hilarious. Yeah, I love the fact these two actually explore their backstory, which I thought was quite interesting. Yep. But in the case of these 3 episodes, they're really good. I love them. And there's only 3 episodes left. So, yeah, that's it for Single View. Now, I really thought that Shaman King was be uploaded today. Because it was uploaded yesterday. I checked. Not there. Still not there. I'm like, really? The episode came out yesterday and it's not there. I don't know what happened. It's by far one of the most baffling things I've seen. Yeah, as far as I can tell, there's no reason for this at all. Of that, this one series is clearly not there. Like, Maybe they got sued. I'm not really sure what the heck happened. Because I keep looking and it's not here. Yeah, there's a website I go to. Here we go. Yeah, for some reason it's just not here. I'm not really sure what happened. Maybe it'll be there next week. Who the heck knows? But yeah, that's it for particular view. Stay tuned for my next review, which will be more of this series. And I think I'll just do 2 episodes. And then I'll call it a night, and I'll just basically cap this up tomorrow, along with my review for Case Closed. And maybe, just maybe, Shaman King will upload, because apparently they just don't want to upload this new episode for some reason. I'm not sure what the heck is going on with it, okay? Next video. Bye.